We used to struggle with customers' item size and weights and the cost for inaccurate estimates. And we also ultimately had to cancel some jobs. It was when we found Live Switch Contact. Their video tool for quoting changed everything. We saved $5,000 in the first month alone. And our only regret is we didn't try them sooner. All right, y'all. Welcome to another episode of Mornings with Movers. I'm Dwyght Mack with Moving Force. You guys have been probably hearing about me around the industry. We're essentially a marketplace. Moving Force is a marketplace that links movers, trusted movers, with customers. Actual book jobs, not leads that you gotta call and vet and verify and da 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 da. No, we actually go through the whole pipeline, book the move for you, and the only thing you gotta do is just accept. Go do the job that you've been used to doing. So if you're interested, we are only working with exclusive amount of people and companies. So we're not working with everybody. Y'all have my information below the video when it goes live. So reach out. Let's chat it up. But further on, we got our main man Corey Jeffries in the building.
What's up? How's it going?
He's shining like an angel in the back right there. He must be nice outside.
Yeah,
Uh, so yeah, Corey, what's been going on? Tell us about life.
yeah. Life's been life in between working and trying to run a business again. Life's been busy, so just staying on my toes and trying to make sure we don't make any the same mistakes we did before.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
We learn from our
No.
mistakes and we keep pushing forward. So, I guess have you started implementing any SOPs?
Yeah, so we've started. Well, for your guests who may or may not know, I started a new company, new idea, which is a subscription-based exterior home care service. We have routes we put neighborhoods on, and we service them on, a schedule. So they are allowed to purchase additional services while we're on the route. They can request us while we're on the route. We keep prices low for the customers, and contractors. We keep them busy as well. So kind of works out for everybody. But so far, it's going good. We got 3 customers on the book, so got some recurring revenue, which is the sticky part we like. So that's pretty much what I've been kind of gunning for so far. So
Okay,
that's
okay.
picking up and coming along.
Big moves, big moves.
Yeah, yeah.
What's the company name again?
It's called Get a Fix It Pal.
Get a
Fix It Pal.
fix it, pal. All
Yep.
right, yeah. So we're gonna call it that. And so y'all guys got the name. Y'all got the name. So make sure y'all reach out to my boy Corey if you're in the South now, so he can get y'all right.
Yeah, we
Um.
can get you on the schedule.
So, but no, that's awesome. So, what the topic for today, y'all? We're gonna go into the 120-day sprint. Once a year we got to hit on this because a lot of you guys still are dropping the ball. This is the only time y'all can make money. Well, I ain't gonna say the only time, unless you got some horrible SOPs for the other 8 months. But this is the main time you guys can make all your money. Let me just say that. So we're gonna go over about 5 tips that you guys can use to be exploring. Give me 1 second, so we can go over these juicy details. Let me see. So the first tip is confirm and communicate schedules. So we got to
Oh
tighten this
man.
up. It's about to get crazy. Ensure
Yeah.
all bookings are confirmed, communicated clearly with clients. Double check dates, times, and any special requirements to prevent last minute surprises. I know it
Yes.
sounds routine, but y'all know that this is the time where your schedule gets booked out about a month to 2 months in advance. So this is stuff that y'all don't want, especially if y'all working 7 days a week. Y'all don't have that leadway to be
Yeah.
messing around. Go ahead,
Yep.
Corey. What you got? Oops, yeah, I think you're frozen. Yeah, so are you there?
Yeah, I'm back.
All right, yeah. You froze for a second. So yeah, that's the things y'all don't want to mess around with. Y'all want to make sure that you definitely are tight, your schedules are tight, you're doing your 7 day confirmation call, you're doing your 2 day confirmation call. Um, the biggest thing I
Yeah,
had, the issue I had in my workplace, and I'll be honest with you guys, unless you're dialed in with this process, people get very, very complacent. And I'll use that on a very light term, because I could use the L word, lazy, but we're going to say complacent, where they you get them maybe to do the 7 day confirmation, but they don't do the 2 day confirmation. Now, we could systematize all of this. Stop all the headaches. Use our AI bots to make the phone calls. Set it up to the point where it can make the 7 day confirmation call. It can make the 2 day confirmation call. So it can make all of your 7 day calls in one shot simultaneously. You program it so that it has your questions. Your questions are going to be whatever your follow-up questions are. Hey, we just wanted to call and confirm you're moving on this date. The guys will be scheduled to be here between 9 and 10. Your stuff is all packed, or did you need packing services? And even if you're asking a yes or no question, a transcript will generate. And you can look at the transcript and be like, oh, snap, they need packing. Let me get on this right away. And now you got seven, let's say you have 7 customers in 7 days, like 7 days away, and you're doing a 7 day confirmation. Robot just shot out 7 transcripts to you. Now your team just need to look at it. Okay, yes, they need more packing. Okay, maybe I need to follow up with this customer directly as a human. See if we need to bring packing material. See if we need to do a 2 day service, packing one day, moving another day, which doubles your revenue. And then go through all of the questions, the rest of the questions that you may have. So if you do need a guide, reach out to me. You guys can reach out to me on Facebook. Name is the same way it's spelled on this podcast. So reach out to me. I can give you guys a guide on what questions to be asking on your 7 day confirmation call, as well as your 2 day confirmation call. We just want to make sure you guys are not dropping the ball.
Hey everybody, my name is Dwyght Mack with Mack's Moving Training. So we're going to be doing a move and a pack today. But before we go in, there's just 10 basic rules that we just need to know before participating with this service. So number one, understand moving is a very, very stressful thing. The customer, they're uplifting their life from one location to another. They're having to call all these vendors and get all these suppliers in place so that basically they can make that transition. So their stress level is at the highest right now. We need to be a service provider that comes in and basically keep that stress level mitigated or very low. Come in as professionals and do our job the way we know how to do our job so that this customer is less stress during that move process. Number two, be on time. First impression is everything. You guys showing up outside of the window rubs the customer the wrong way. It messes up the rest of the move process. Even if you guys do the best job y'all can do, because one thing was off, this customer's mood is just off. Go up and beyond, be there before the time, as long as they're okay with it.
Corey, anything on your side?
yeah. I mean, I was just going to say that the most important part is making sure you get through that entire, follow up process, because you could arrive that day and hey, they say, oh, we found somebody else, or we found somebody else cheaper, even though you've already signed the contract and everything of that nature. So it's definitely critical that you follow it up to the morning of, to make sure you have that complete, confirmation. Because we've had times where we've shown up and oh, they've signed the contract, they've done this, they've made their deposit, and oh, we found somebody else who is cheaper. They don't, care about the deposit, or so that you spot
That's
on with that one.
crazy.
Yeah.
So, well, hey, and he spoke on it. Corey spoke on it. The deposit. If you put down a deposit, if they put down a deposit, make sure the deposit is something that you can still salvage. Meaning that I used to start off, when I first started my company, I started off with a $50 deposit. Oh, just give me $50.
Yeah.
And it was
that's
like,
nothing sometimes.
yeah, it's nothing. And it does
Yeah.
nothing, especially in today's economy. So if you rent trucks, that $50 is gone.
Yeah,
Out before you even get the truck out off the yard, the truck is gone. That $50 is gone.
that's it.
If your guys come in that day because you were expecting to move, and then they call the customer and the customer says, "Oh, well, we found somebody else, or we're not moving." Well,
Yeah,
that $50 is gone.
that's
Those
it.
guys done
Yeah,
made their way to work.
yeah,
How
that's
are
it.
you covering their expenses because they showed up
You
for you?
you told yeah, you told them you had work and you can't not deliver.
So,
Yeah.
and it was crazy. A couple of years, several years ago, that they were trying to, the government was trying to make the moving industry like the retail industry, where they were
Oh,
saying that, oh, if employee has to get a minimum of about 4 hours,
yeah.
whether they work or they don't work.
And as much as I hate to say it, I do agree with that because that's how.
Ooh,
Yeah,
you
I
open up
know,
a
I
bag of
know,
worms, y'all. All
I know,
right.
I know, I know, I know. But hear me out, hear me out. You know, those guys are working hard, and you know, you think about the guys we employed. You know, especially me during that time, just the things that they go through and you know coming to work, and you know, I know there's accountability on their side, but I do agree. You know, at least if you have a helper or somebody that can, you know, be there available for you, you know, it makes sense to say, hey, you know, come on in regardless of work or not. You know, we're going to pay you. So in a sense, yeah, I kind of agree with, you know, those guys being paid at least something for showing up because as we discussed before, if they show up and you don't have work for them, you know, you got good faith and you got by the book, you know,
Mm,
you want them to come, you want them to come back, you know, so sometimes you got to, you know, entice them a little bit.
Y'all hear this? Let me
Yeah.
just make sure I get this out to y'all followers so y'all can join this link. Because we're gonna talk about this, Corey. We're gonna talk about
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Ah!
It's one to
All
talk
right.
about, you know?
All right. So we're gonna pause for the 120-day sprint message right now. But all right. So um paying the guys for 4 hours. Let's go into that. So now, the reason why they didn't, I feel like they didn't approve it, which I'm glad they didn't, is because
Yeah.
now I get it. I get it from one side where if you schedule them and then you make changes within 48 to 24 hours, that they already
Yeah.
had work on their mind. So now the customer changed on us. That's not necessarily our fault,
Yeah.
but they're still our employees. So
Correct.
we should still be able to compensate them something. I don't know if it's
Absolutely.
4 hours because that's still 4 hours of unbillable
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. So
And
now what I did,
mhm,
yeah. So what I did was I would give them it regardless, you know, if they came in, I would give them an hour to come into work and then an hour away from work. So essentially 2 hours, you know, for you know showing up even if we didn't have work.
all right.
So
So, and I get
yeah,
that. So for me, I have backups because moving force didn't exist yet, y'all. So I have backups where, we would have our guys come in, like the guys that weren't going out. So we would have a team of four. It would
yeah,
be a driver, two designated movers, and a
hmm
hybrid. A
yep, I
hybrid
remember
is a
that.
driver slash mover. So in the worst case scenario, your driver don't show, you ain't out of luck.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. So
and
even
if
if the
your mover
driver
don't
can't move
show,
now and they
hey,
sit
you're
his truck
still
there.
good. So
Yeah,
we would always have flexibility. The hybrid driver would never be like a main driver. We would kind of have
yeah,
to rotate them in with a mover because your main driver is your main driver. You don't really want to be kind of switching that up if you don't have to.
yeah, yeah.
Plus, it builds credibility because they know that that's their team.
Yeah, their truck, they're responsible. Yep.
Uh-huh. So we would say, okay, well, hybrid mover, we need you to come in on Monday, but you may or may not go out.
Yeah.
Ah,
Now
so you
that's a
don't know if
four
I'm going
hour.
out to get work?
Yeah,
Ah,
now that's
we
a
we
four
we
hour. Yeah,
we don't. But we'll give you a 2 hour stipend if you don't go out, and you only have to sit around for like maybe 15 to 30 minutes. Because,
right.
the time we have you come in, which is about 7:30, maybe 7:40, if the guys aren't here by 8:10 or 8 o'clock,
So then you know,
you
yeah,
going out. And if they walk in at 8:11, 8:15, and they didn't call saying that they was gonna be late, I guess they going home.
yeah. because you're already on the truck going, the truck's on the road.
So
Yeah,
I think to that standpoint, okay, that's understandable because you're bringing in somebody. But
yeah,
if everybody came and that guy got to go home, again, that's 2 hours of
yeah,
unbillable time. How many
yeah,
teams are you doing that with? Oh, well, you got four,
yeah,
five, six, 7 teams. Well, that's 7 guys that's on standby. So seven
yeah.
times two is 14 unbillable hours.
Yeah, but then you have to run that against what are you bringing in income wise, because that's essentially a insurance policy for you. If you would say, because those jobs still have to go, so you got the backup ready in place. So you would say, hey, that's just the insurance costs. You kind of got to eat it, but you ensure that you get your that income to come in. So you don't
Yeah.
cancel the jobs. At least it's not on your end. Hopefully the customer doesn't cancel, but you're covered. You got your backup.
Yeah, and in worst case
Yeah.
scenario, we've been in a situation where we had a 5-seater, and maybe
Yep. Yeah.
it's a 3-man job going out,
Yeah.
and our Freightliner that's a 5-seater, and we're like, oh
Yeah.
well, geez, this is 3 men for 6, 7 hours. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Just
just send you
yeah.
one of you extra guys to go out there and do this job with them. I won't even
Hmm.
charge the customer. Hey, customer, I'm gonna send you an extra body so you guys can get out the job more efficiently
Yeah.
today. How's that sound?
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds really great. And hopefully they get
Yeah.
out sooner because
Yeah.
it's gonna eat your margins every
More
hour
time.
you're out
Yeah.
there. But
You got to tell me.
it builds morale within the team. So you have to sacrifice
Yeah.
somewhere where you're
Yeah.
like, okay, hey, you know what? Go get some work today.
Yeah.
Hopefully the customer will tip you and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
But it's not the customer fault I'm gonna send an extra body. It's just
No,
I just
I
don't
mean,
want you guys out
yeah.
there all day.
Because yeah, and I was going to speak on that too. The employees' morale. You have to put them in a position where they can always, their environment is good for them. You think about the hot days. They're in the back of a hot truck, in and out. Sweating. So stuff like that. When I say we got to make sure they get paid, no issues. They need to be paid, no issues, no hiccups. Because we've been on the trucks, we hot,
Hmm.
sweating. You got to take your shirt off and tie it on the outside of the door to let it dry. So you riding around in the truck with no shirt on. I mean, just all, that's real stuff that we go through, as movers, and you want to make sure that they don't have any financial issues.
I hear
They
that.
shouldn't have to think about, even if it's, oh, I'm coming in, maybe it was an extra hot day, give them that extra, hour of pay or whatever, because you want them to be happy. Like the guys will be on a job. Down here, we got a Bojangles. I'll go get a tailgate special, whole bird, fried chicken, and I'll take it to the job site, for their lunch break. And hey, let's eat. Keeping that morale up is definitely important, when you think about not just the financial side of it, but, the people who do the job, because without them, no work gets done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, all right, y'all. So I kind of think we got this debate settled. We kind of on the same page about,
Yeah.
but I just don't think that should be regulated. I would say,
Yeah.
just because, again, we're not a
Yeah.
retail
Because
industry.
somebody will try to take advantage of it, because like I said, you have to show up first and foremost. You can't just say, oh, I didn't show up today, I still need to get my two. No, sir. You got to come to the office, show you were ready to work, you know, then we can go that route. But
Exactly.
showing up, but not showing up and then trying to take advantage. Yeah, nah, not that. So
Yeah, and like I said, with the retail industry, they're like, oh, well, hey, you got to at least get a minimum of 4 hours for the day.
yeah,
If your job one isn't a minimum of 4 hours, and
yeah,
you know
and
how much market value, how much
yeah,
customers you may be losing because
yeah,
you have to tell them, hey, we got a 4 hour minimum.
yeah. And I understand, because you think about it, you got to get up, drive to work, sit in traffic, put wear and tear on your car. And I know you agreed on a price when you signed up to do the
Hmm.
work, but you still have that. Sometimes I think about it, it's just a lot to sit in traffic, and that messes up your whole mental space before you even get to work. So sometimes as business owners, we got to kind of think outside the box for the employee, and just give them a little cushion. So yeah,
So
I think we're on the same page.
it's a double-edged sword. From a business
Yeah,
standpoint, I would
it's
love
gonna
a four
hurt you.
hour minimum. From the market, what the market tells me, oh
Yeah,
well,
it's
if too many people are doing 4 hour minimums, well, that one
yeah.
job that you could be charging a 3 hour minimum for,
You got to
which
move it
is
up to a 4 hour. Yeah,
which is only like, hey, we need you to move a treadmill, a couple of
yeah,
couches, and maybe a
yeah,
bed. That's all we need to do.
Yeah,
Well,
and that's
I
four
could
hour
get that
minimum.
customer for a 3 hour minimum. I can't get them for a
Yeah,
4 hour
for
minimum.
4 hour. No, sir. A 30-minute job. Oh, you charging me 4 hours? Welcome to America, baby.
When your team isn't trained, mistakes happen. Jobs go wrong. Customers complain. And your business? It suffers. At Max Moving Training, we help moving companies like yours build strong, reliable teams from the inside out. From mover and driver training to sales, operations, marketing, and leadership. We give your people the skills to succeed. When everyone is trained, everything runs smoother and your business grows stronger. Training isn't optional. It's essential. Stop guessing. Start training. Join Max Moving Training today.
Uh-huh. So, so I get it where it's like, hey, we maybe want to pay them for 4 hours. And
Yeah. Now,
hey,
I would be fine with the 3 hour mandate, which is, hey, hour to work, hour back, and then, the hour in there just because, right? But 4 hours, I think that's pushing it.
yeah. And the crazy part is companies already pay 4 hours
That works.
from 1 hour being unbillable, meaning that, hey, the guys got
Hey,
to work, the guys are heading to the job, I'm paying them an
yes, yeah,
hour
you're
just to
still
do
gonna
that.
have because unless you bill it to the customer, you're still gonna have somewhere in there some unbillable time. I mean, like
So,
you say, you just gotta weigh your options.
so what I did was I kind of changed it up. You could do it two ways. You could have your dispatcher get the truck ready, get everybody's paperwork ready, and when the guys get in, hey guys, get ready, get out the door.
Yeah, and that's what we did.
But one thing you drop is your driver still needs to do the post-trip inspection, the pre-trip inspection,
Yeah,
and post-trip inspection technically. So that time for the driver at least, not the movers, that time
yeah.
for the driver at least, they
He's
need to
working.
spend a little bit of
Yeah.
time getting the truck together. So they want
Hmm.
to be paid for that time.
Yep.
So we used to do something like 30 minutes prep time. Hey, we'll give you
Hmm.
30 minutes when you come to the office as long as you're on time and you're not
Right.
here just jumping in the truck and leaving.
Right. Right.
And then we'll do that 30 minutes, which is unbillable. And then when you're driving to the job, you're getting paid by the mile,
Right.
which is billable because it's part of my transportation fee to the customer.
Right. Okay.
And then when we get to the job, you're on billable time by the hour.
Yeah.
So the only thing that's unbillable for me is that 30 minutes, which I can probably get that in my travel fee, pull it out of my travel fee because we make so much in
Yeah. Of
travel fee
course.
cost.
Yep. Yep. So I mean, yeah, it's covered regardless, but it's just where you put it at on the line item, right?
Yeah. So, and
Yeah.
again, I just never believed in paying a person an hour to get there, an hour to get back.
Get that.
Some
Yeah.
guys don't even come back to the warehouse because they're like, oh, yo, I'm right by my house. Let me out here, because they maybe
Yeah.
don't have a car.
Yeah. And
So,
I mean, you come to a point where you say you kind of good with it because if they're showing up, they're working, I don't see an issue with it, right? Because it's like I'd rather overpay you than underpay you, ever, right?
I don't know if it's underpayment though. That's weird. I just think
Yeah.
that you just gotta have a system that works. Like my guys love mileage, so they was like, "Oh, can you
Mhm.
put me on the longest job? Can you put me on the longest
Yeah.
job?" Because
But
they know.
think about it like this: what if you switched it and said instead of mileage, we're going to give you, higher payouts on your, when customers say, "Hell, you did a good job, we'll pay you $50." So instead of doing the mileage, you say, "Hey, do good jobs. We don't do mileage. We do higher payouts." So now you've just moved it on the line item, and I think they would be more happier with, instead of nickel and diamond, like, "Oh, I drove this many miles, I should get this. Oh, I did a good job. Here's the 50." You think about it.
But then on the week to week basis, you have that chart where your margins are dipping and fluctuating, whereas you now have to adjust your profit margins because you're only making so much. You may be making 12 to 22% on
Mhm.
profit margin. So you having to pay
Right.
$50 because they did a great
Well, I
job.
mean, yeah, and it might not be 50, but I mean, you think about the fluctuation of the mileage and stuff like that, and you say, "Oh, well, I drove this amount of miles, or I'm expecting to do this because I looked at the chart and it was this and it was this." So just taking out anything that they would have to calculate, for example. So maybe you could even do, well, they're averaging, $12,000, or $12,000 worth of mileage per year. Maybe I could just put that into a rewards program instead of doing a nickel and dime it. It'll take something off your plate and it'll make it easier for them. So you don't have to go, oh, they drove, let me go in. Even though it's, automated, it's just, less work. And you can just say, oh, they would have gotten an average of, $12 for this trip or whatever. So let me just turn that into reward points instead, maybe throw 2 or 3% on top of it. And now it looks a lot better than them having to go in, and because they're going to keep track. If you're paying them and it's like, mileage, and they feel like their check was short, they're going to go through and look and start questioning and, this ain't right and this ain't this. So if you could just remove any little friction there, that helps out big time.
CRMs is your best friend.
All right, guys, my name is Brandon. I'm with Mack's Move Management, and here's 11 steps on how to have a perfect move. The first one, the office should call, or your dispatcher should call the customer 2 days prior to arrival. The reason for this is just in case the customer has a closing on the house, maybe they weren't able to secure, a babysitter for the child or a pet sitter. You definitely want to call 2 days in advance. This helps the customer be prepared, and you make sure that you as well know that you're going to a customer that's also prepared. 2, the crew should also call the customer prior to arrival to the home. After the guys have already geared up, you got all your equipment in your truck, you got your address punched into your GPS, go ahead and either the driver or the helper, give the customer a call or a quick text, let them know that you're en route to your location, and provide them with the ETA. This also sets the expectation for the customer to be back home just in case they would have dropped their kids off to school. For the third one, look to keep the customer happy, break the ice in the beginning. So pretty much this means when you walk up to the house, knock on the door with your best mannerism that your mother taught you, or father, you knock on the door, introduce yourself. Hi, my name is Brandon. I'm the foreman. This is my helper. And you introduce the team that you have with you.
Having a feature of being able to see our round trip mileage was crucial, because it was one of those things where it's like, hey, no debate. I'm paying you guys off the RT.
You can, yep.
And they be like, oh, okay, so I know where to look. So, the RT today is going to be 75 miles. And that's going from origin to headquarters to origin and destination back to headquarters.
Yeah.
Because the in between is going to be your normal hourly.
Yeah, and then I could see it for like your regular truck drivers who are just driving all day long, right? But these guys are, they have to stop, do the job, load the truck up, drive again, stop. So they're, not driving all day. They're, mainly sitting. So like I said, when you talk about mileage, they do have the option to go back and nitpick and say, oh, we took this route or we had to go this route because of traffic.
And that's where, we don't, at the end of the day, the route was set. Whatever route you choose to take, is on you.
Then you can't, but you can't, as the owner, we can't account for the traffic, and then you gotta, I put myself in the employees, employees' foot. If I'm gonna do good work for you, then I need to be in an environment where there's not a lot that I have to think about. I can just focus on my work. So when I look back at the things I put my employees through, right, like not giving all the job specifics. Like we did a job one time, I just took it because they were gonna pay me. Third floor, didn't take no notes or nothing. So we had a third floor pickup and then a third floor a drop off, but I, of course, overpaid them, make sure we had lunch for the day, all of that stuff. So really, when I look at it, we're going to make mistakes. We're going to put them in situations that, they probably shouldn't have been in. But as long as we keep that environment, open, clean for them, I think that helps out tremendously, alongside the pay, just giving them that environment, which is what I didn't do, but I wish I could go back and, do.
And I think, I think we did really well with the mileage. I think we were one of the only companies doing it that way, but it was clean. It was very clean. Everybody knew, hey, you know what? We're not going to get you. We're not going to try to lower your miles. If you take a different route from the route that MapQuest tells you to take originally, that's really on you. But I get it. If emergencies happen,
because then think about this. If they didn't take that route and they were stuck in traffic for, call it 30, 45 minutes, they get to the customer's house late. Now everything's pushed back. And then you don't want to argue with them and say, oh, well, you should have, stayed the course. Well, if they would have did that, chances are the job would have been late, next job would have got pushed back, and then you got, dispatch calling you like, customers upset. So you got to kind of think about it. They made a business decision on your behalf. So why not give them that extra, or why not just make it, like I said, whatever you think the mileage is going to be for the day, and then just give them that extra percentage, call it a reward, whatever, $12, $15 per whatever, as long as you get a 5-star, because then you don't have to technically pay that every time if they don't get, a
Guys,
good
y'all
star
heard
rating.
Corey,
Yeah.
he making some good valid
Yeah,
points
yeah, yeah.
from an employee standpoint, bro. From a
Yeah.
business standpoint.
It works out on the line items too, because you got to look at the line items. Like I said, you're going to pay them mileage each time they go. But if you say, hey, we're going to take out the mileage, get a good, good review, then you get your points. Now we're not talking about mileage anymore. We're now encouraging them to do a great job because they already know they're going to get that extra, and you shouldn't have any issues. So before they think about fighting on the job, oh man, I'm gonna lose my whatever stipend. Maybe let's not do this here. That might not stop them, but just thinking.
Yeah, no. So yeah, we did have an employee bonus, and I know
Yeah,
we got off topic, y'all, but we did have an employee bonus where every week we would allocate based on how many jobs were safe, how many jobs we got 5-star reviews on. We would allocate about 3 to 5% into our bucket. I think it got down to like 2%, honestly, because 3 to 5 was a lot. But we got about 2 to 3% into our bucket every week. And by either the end of the year, or we were designated to do it every 6 months. But by the end of the year, we would say, hey guys, this is a Christmas bonus. We were able to save up $8,000, $9,000. We don't need that money. We allocated it towards that bonus. So we are working without it. So we're gonna split $8,000 amongst all of you who's still on the roster. And we are going to break it up into percentages based on how much damage you caused. And it was very systematic. The spreadsheet worked itself. So it was at 8,000 being spread amongst 9 people or whatever the number is. How much damage did John get? How much damage did Matt get? How much damage did this person get? And it would reallocate it. So basically everybody would either get paid or some of that money would be lost and went back into the pot.
Right.
Hey, and everybody be able to see, oh man, I ain't getting my full $1,000. I'm only getting 780 or whatever the case is. All right, well, I got to do better, going into next year or whatever the case is. So it's not just rewarding them for their mistakes because they still cost us money.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to pay for that.
So
like I said, it's just a bunch of line item. I know we over time.
Nah, you already know. But I hope you guys got some really great insights from this conversation. I know we didn't go over the rest of the 120 sprint, but you guys know what to do. But Corey, take us home.
Yeah, man. Corey would Get a Fix It Pal, taking over neighborhoods one by one. So hopefully we'll be in a city near you soon. Thank y'all for showing up. Mack, I'll pass it back over to you.
All right, y'all. So, we love these chats. These chats get juicy every week. Never stay on damn topic, but it always get juicy. And, we ultimately want to make sure that we're bringing y'all value, not scripted, straight from, the top of the brain, where it's just like, you know what? We had a goal today, but, Corey started his mess and we had to deviate. So keep crushing it out there. We'll see y'all next week. Saturdays is our day. Keep crushing it. Keep going out there. Make sure you guys are really optimizing your schedule. Make sure you guys are getting ahead of it. And just make sure you're not dropping the ball. Collect at least a 25% deposit so that you guys could have something to salvage. In worst case scenario, something gets canceled. Still pay your guys at least a 2-hour minimum and pay whatever initial expenses you incurred.
Keep you guys happy.
All right, y'all. Talk to y'all soon.